Testing, can we hear you? Paul?
Yes,
Okay, I can hear
sounds
you.
good. Can they be a show of hands if anybody's new?
Yeah.
Mike, yeah.
I have to go back to gallery view let me see.
If not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, either put it in the box if you know how to raise your hand, or I can see one page. Anybody want to raise their hands? I think everybody looks familiar to me on the first page. Oh wait, there's a Clay raising his hand.
Clay,
Zero,
you look familiar, Clay, but we'll take you as a newcomer, all right?
maybe from the 12-step reflections.
No, no, for this thing.
Michael's doing his thumb, so he knows Clay.
All right. Well, let's just first of all welcome everybody. It's a pleasure to see most of you. Not all of you, but most of you. Yeah. Um, Again, we're not going to obviously talk about non-duality. That's pointless. Non-duality, again, is a negation, and basically all the direction is to negate what's been assumed to be so, and by seeing that it's not so, then you find out about what's so. Yeah. Instead of going the other way, which is looking from what you're not for what you are, you're going to see the activity that implies what you're not from what you are. Yeah, it's just simple. Just a different move. It's the same. It looks exactly the same, but where you see it from or how you see it is different. Yeah. So all the while, all there is what's seeing whatever's arising. Yet in this little dreaming, the seen can take itself to be the seeing. Yeah. So now the seeing, identified as a body, is now looking for itself as a body. Yeah. So what needs to be negated is, in a way, the body identification. It doesn't have to be vanquished or killed or anything like that because there is no body identification. There's just an appearance. Yeah. We're believing something, and that sort of makes it so in the programming of time. Yeah. So in time, things that are impossible can seem to be possible. Yeah. Like we're separate, long lasting, independent, separate things. Yeah. That truly is impossible, but through time, it can seem to be possible. Yeah. And what it seems to be possible to is what we are, really. Yeah. So what we are is dreaming. It seems to forget that by being identified as the dreamt. And then what's being projected or dreamt, let's say, is now seen as real on the programming's perceptions. Yeah. So basically, the non-duality is a negation of a lot of assumed facts or supposings and implied, historically verified, perceptually verified, through memory verified, a questioning of all that. And then when you see that you're not all that, yeah, all that is being used to imply a thing. When the thing doesn't get implied while you're seeing all that, when the thing, it doesn't get implied, all the implying is there, but it doesn't get implied, that's seeing from what you are. Yeah. Now you get a free sample of seeing life from what you are instead of looking for life from what you're not. Yeah, it's just simple, really. And the habit is the head will follow movements. So the head will say, I'm disconnected, and then it believes it as some real thing has moved away from the real thing. Yeah. Or I'm connected to it. And all the connections and disconnections are always conditional and circumstantial and stuff like that. So if you're in the right circumstances and condition, let's say a high end retreat, I don't mean in Hoboken, but let's say in Bali or something, and you're eating very well and you're getting foot massages and everyone's got loving gazes, then you'll feel connected in that dynamic. But then if that dynamic changes, then you'll feel disconnected. What we're saying is you're not that which is implied to be connected, nor are you that which is implied to be unconnected. Yeah? You're before all that. See, that is the duality that non-duality is negating. The idea of close and far, connected, not connected, because you're what you are. We're being what we are. See, there's not a being and a not being. Being what you are isn't dualistic. Yeah? The dreaming is dualistic, but your own nature is not dualistic. Yeah? It's not being when it's the right conditions and you're feeling well and you've meditated for a few hours and you ate vegan and you got a nice Thai massage, then you're being what you are. No, there's no being what you are conditionally. You are that unconditionally. Yeah? And there's no opposite of the being. There's not being and non-being in a way. There's just being. Yeah? And so the message is really more about duality. It's completely about duality with the hopes that we'll see duality and recognize we're not that which is looking from duality. Yeah? We're not the identification as a body. It's not the body so much. The body is used to represent the claiming of being the doer, the thinker, the feeler, the seer, the taster, the toucher. So it's a representation of all that which has been claimed by the mental state arising. So when the mental state arises, it claims whatever it gets in contact with, yeah? That contact, all of the claiming is represented with this body idea, yeah? So then the thoughts can fixate around this object, and then you can be remembered, and you can be remembered by future worrying, and basically we arrive at I am Paul, but by I was Paul and I will be Paul, yeah? It just doesn't arise like that, being Paul. No, it's I was Paul and I will be Paul, therefore I am Paul. So you can see it. One is a fabrication through time, and the other is just what is. Yeah, it doesn't need. There's no thought or effort in it. There's no having to be vigilant about it or concentrate and focus on it. You know, what you are isn't an object of meditation. It's the subject of all subject. Yeah, it's not an object of meditation to the phony object. Yeah, who thinks it's a subject. So I'm not going to meditate on what I am. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I am that. That's why you get a sense of being meditated all day, because you are that which you would love to concentrate on and fucking get into the pulse of it and ride that wave. And you think it would be an act of you aligning yourself to the rhythm of being, but you are being. Yeah. You're not going to arrive or experience or have one from a two-ness. It's a negation of the two-ness. And then you find out all there has been. Yes, and all there will be. And basically everything is coming and going except for what we are. So I learned, people would talk to the guy who was watching the door at one of the meetings we were doing in LA. And then I heard a thing I've heard many times. A lot of people would go to him as they were leaving the event and say, it's like everything this guy says is going over my head, yeah? And so he wanted to know what I thought about that. I said, that's exactly where we're aiming. We're trying to throw it over your head, yeah? We're not trying to talk to Judith. We're not trying to talk to Nick and Mike. We're talking through Nick and Mike, yeah? We're talking through Nick and Mike. Hopefully the words, the language will fucking sort of get stuck with Nick and Mike, and then the real message, the real communication, mind to itself, mind to mind can occur, yeah? So really, basically, the one who shows up at the meeting is never getting the fucking message. Never. Yeah. It's not because you haven't sat with a straight enough back and you should have got there early, yeah, or you should have donated more, which could possibly work. I don't know, but maybe. I've heard it does. And stuff like that, yeah? It's just, it's finally getting, by your own observation, the utter failing of this system to try to find out what it already is, yes? It can't find itself through a mistaken identity. You just see the identity is a mental activity. You were never identified with any fucking thing. It's just, it appeared. It was an appearance in dreaming that you were identified as something. But in fact, it isn't so, yeah? So basically, all the thing that's huffing and puffing and blowing up these images is the mental state, yeah? If you lose interest in thoughts, which you can't if you keep holding them as yours, there's no fucking way. When you see the thoughts aren't yours, there'll be a loss of interest in the thoughts. And then it's so weird, when you lose interest in the thoughts seem to lose influence on you. Who knows? And maybe you're onto something. I don't know. That's how I would see it. Yeah, it's not like, oh, that's a strange coincidence. As soon as I started seeing the thoughts weren't mine, the thoughts didn't seem to ruin my freaking Hawaii vacation. Exactly, because they don't have the ability to do anything other than the power we give them by believing in them. And how do we constantly believe in the thoughts is by the my of the thoughts. Yeah? I'm not affected by Judith's thoughts at all. I feel bad if she's fucked up right now, but I'm not fucked up. Yeah? But the same thoughts, the same exact thoughts that seem to be producing that effect in Judith, if they were happening here and I was holding them as mine, they'd have the ability to do the same thing. Yeah? So it's not the thoughts, obviously. Let's get to the nature of what's happening, at least. Yeah? So it's not the thoughts. It's, in English, it's represented by this feeling of ownership or proprietoriness or my. Yeah? So the my, you'll see it. What's the bond? There's the problems, and then the problems are affixed with this word my, and then the my infers the one who has the problems, yeah? There is no one who has the problems that's calling the problems mine. The problems are called mine, and that's what infers the person. We think it goes this way. There's Paul, then there's my, and then there's the problem. It goes the other way. There's a recognition of something going on, then a my is slapped on it, and then the my infers there was Paul. And now Paul is the one who has all the problems. You see it? We're looking the wrong way. The problems, things arise. We give them the meaning of problem. But things arise. What arises is slapped with my or about me, and that's what infers the me. The me comes after. It's not before. It's after. It's manufactured. Just things happening. The only way they seem to have direction is if we have a fixed reference. If we're not, you'll just see everything is verbing. Verbing, all over. There's no, oh, that's verbing in relation to me. No. It's just verbing. The mental state arises and claims it. Yeah? Slaps a my on it. Yeah? My seeing. Yeah? Now suddenly, my seeing is used to infer Paul as the body, not consciousness as that which is seeing. Paul now becomes the seer. Yeah? But it isn't Paul was the seer, and now he's seeing this thing. No. There's seeing of things, and there's an impliedness of that there's Paul as the seer. You might as well recognize it. Yeah? It's a switcheroo in time. And yet we're before time. You can see it. You don't need to see it every freaking time. Just a few times and you'll get it. Yeah? And you'll get, wow, I'm before everything that comes after. Yeah? I'm before everything that comes after. There's no seeing what's seen. There's no seer of what's seeing. There is no seer of what's seeing. And then when you get relieved of the nounness of life, the add-on, the fucking weight, yeah? What accumulates around a stagnant mental object, when you get relieved of that, you'll know the solution, you'll know the problem from the solution, you'll see exactly what was going on in a sense, yeah? There's something that's manufacturing us, and then the us is presupposed before all manufacturing. Yeah, we'll recognize every other product of the product line, but we're the biggest product of the product line. Yeah, we're the biggest one. We're missing that, and then we figure maybe if I could extract this from the product line, bring a new product in. We're constantly tinkering with what comes after, but that which has been applied to be before is just immune to any investigation. It is not noun verb. It's verbing. It's sort of like if you have the sense that you're the noun and then this verb, it's like you're walking backward trying to travel forward, really. Yeah? It's that extreme. So this message is just basically a negation of all that's assumed to be so, all that's not even addressed anymore. It's just taken to be a fact, yeah? It's a negation of that. It's the negation of the two-ness. It's a negation of the seer seen, the hearer heard, the feeler felt. It's a negation of that. It's a negation of all the poles that become sort of fixed nouns with the vibratory verbness, yeah? That's not so. Doesn't mean it's great or bad, it's just not true. And what happens if that becomes clear? Well, then you move on to different items and topics, yeah? It's done, it doesn't come up for debate every 3 months. You don't have to go, get re-educated every year. It's just a fact, yeah? It's just, and now, that which is before, and that which is after is seen as coming after, basically. Because now you're seeing from before. And then everything will be seen in a different way and will be held in a different way. As an expression here. All right.
Anybody want to raise their hand?
There's no one traveling lighter either. It's an expression here, and I give it the term traveling lighter. Yeah. But there's no one traveling lighter. The one traveling is the heaviness. It is. May have some light days here and there, but basically it puts you underwater. It's like a weighted fucking thing. Yeah. The traveling lighter is an expression and an observation. There's no you that's expressing it, and there's no you that's observing it. There's just an expression of it and an observing of it. Yeah. And in the language of Rome, as we're here, traveling lighter is how it's held. Because as a travelogue of 20 something years of Paul Hedderman, I would say that would be it. As an expression and observation of Paul Hedderman, not in all the particulars, but in the patterns or in the larger picture, it has been a traveling lighter. Yeah.
Kaiser's got his hand up.
Hey guys, I figured I'd start us off. So last week I was kind of explaining some things. Paul, you got that reflections of the 12 steps, and I was explaining something that you brought up in there. But it's pretty much like identification with self. And while I was explaining to him, my friend, he started taking issue and asking me questions. And when he did that, I didn't know that this took place. Like there wasn't a moment, but for like the rest of the night, I realized that I couldn't really identify with like myself. Like he would ask, is there a Kaiser? And I'm like, there's just not. And nothing had changed. There wasn't like a oneness experience. Everything was just the way it is now. But I couldn't I didn't bother to identify, and it was very, very different. I kind of like it now, but it wasn't any different than it kind of feels like currently. And it was that simple. It was just that simple. And then the very next day, my wife brought some stuff like with the political stuff that's going on, and stuff throughout the nation. And then I really, really had like stuff was landing. I had a person. And I had really identified, and it was interesting. But I always thought it would be like a huge event, and it would be like identifiable immediately. And I just didn't identify with myself, and I honestly couldn't, or maybe I wouldn't. The I stuff kind of screws up with the language, but you kind of get what I'm saying. But does these typically happen like really aha moments? Because this just wasn't. And I can start to pick up on identifying, not identifying. I mean, the language is kind of hard to use. It's clumsy, but something's changed. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's almost like someone introduced dance steps from Venus. Yeah. It doesn't look like you think it would look. Yeah? Yes? When there's a sufficient enough loss of interest in the selfing, then there are things that are available but never to the self. Yeah? You see it?
A little bit.
Yeah. And there isn't you that identified and you that's not identified. Yeah? There's just this assumption of identification, and then the you is produced from that. Yeah? Yeah. There's no, first of all, what we are isn't in the act of being identified with anything. Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah, there's not much to really say about it. Maybe
No.
there's just baby steps,
have
and
free
more will
sample.
be revealed. Yeah.
What will happen is these dance steps will be shown again and again, and then you'll see a new logic going on or something different, completely different than how you would think it would be, thank God. And you'll pick up on this flavor, sort of like an exotic flavor, and it won't be the first taste you get. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah?
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that scary. It's not that big of a deal, but more will be revealed, and maybe I'll be
Well, it can
surprised.
become scary too. I mean, you know, it can do anything it wants, really. It doesn't have to be a big explosion in the sky, and it doesn't have to be a meek little just a shift. It can do whatever it wants to do. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Because
Yeah, it
it's
feels
an
legitimate.
expression. You see, it's an expression from what we are. It is not a way of getting to what we are. Those are expressions of what we are. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's not breaking into this new place and then wham, you know what I mean? It's the reality. We're not. Yeah? So here it can do whatever it wants, but it's more of an expression. From our view, we think we're having a realization. But in a sense, that which we're having a realization is always realized, like Ramana Maharshi says. Yeah. So basically, yeah. So it can do whatever it wants. You know, you can wake up from reading a telephone book. You're inherently awake now. You could, you know, jump in freezing cold water and come out and shock yourself into whatever. It doesn't matter, but none of those things produced anything. It was already so, yeah? They were just sort of flamboyancy. Just a flamboyant expression. You see how we have it backwards? We still think we're the big thing that's going to have a realization. It's always realized. It's always there. What happens if you believe something happened to you, and then when it does, it tells you it's always been that way? It just negated your whole story that something happened to you. So the goal that we're seeing in spirituality that we're seeking is going to negate that it was ever a goal, that it was ever a point of arrival. When you arrive, it tells you, oh, gone to the other shore upon arriving on having never left. That's the message, yeah?
Yeah, it's just kind of knocking off the shenanigans of
Yeah,
so
whatever. And you know what's,
yeah.
you know, we use a term called dog shit awareness, you know, just to sort of making it not so mentally attractive. Yeah, just ordinary awakeness. Really, you're just awake to the fact that you're awake. Yeah? And you seem to, that obviousness suddenly becomes obvious to you because you recognize you're not that which believes it's asleep. That's all. It's not that thought it was asleep does not wake up. You just see you're not that which thought it was asleep. Then what you are becomes obvious, not through seeking from what you're not, but seeing what you're not as not you. Then the awakeness as a future goal seems like ludicrous. You're using awakeness to arrive at awakeness, so to speak. It seems like, well, that's a funny fucking joke that I've been the butt of for many years. Yeah. But that which the imagining of the mental state that's in an assertion that it's not awake and that it's going to get awake, that's what you wake up from, is that. That does not wake up. You wake up from that. Yeah? You wake up from the believing in that machination of you as an unawake person who has to strive and do all this shit to wake up. Just see you're not the unawake person And you probably will find out like that you're awake. Not as a miracle, but as the basic fact. Yeah. Not like it could ever be unawake. It's just what is. So it's all about seeing what you're not, and not, there's no, you can't see what you're not because it's an activity. But the seeing of what you're not is recognizing the activity doesn't necessarily lead to its product it's trying to sell. Maybe it's just a giant advertising campaign and has no product.
Yeah, and because it was so ordinary.
It tries to convince us we're unconnected. It tries to convince us we're out of the moment. It tries to convince us, oh, I'm so dirty, I've got to purify. It's unbelievable. It really is. So, I mean, most of us feel there has to be sacrifice for awakeness, or I have to somehow go through a gauntlet to find my worth and value to be awake material, so to speak. It's a fact, you know? Look at your day. The underlying basis was seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. Were you sweating while you were seeing today? Were you sweating while trying to hear? Were you like hearing with great effort or seeing, like with super focusedness? No. That conscious contact doesn't demonstrate any thought or effort. It just is. It's just there. Whatever shows up through its gates, it sees it, feels it, tastes it, touches it, smells it. It doesn't have any, there's no resume to be smelled, tasted, touched, felt. It's just conscious contact, whatever is arising. Some of it gets in contact. The other shit gets fucking filtered out because it'd probably be too much for us as what we're not. Yeah? So the conscious contact doesn't demonstrate any thought or effort. Why do you think thought or effort's going to bring you to that which doesn't demonstrate any thought or effort? Explain me that. I haven't seen what is efforting at all. I mean, I was seeing on my worst day and I was seeing on my best day. It didn't seem to have too much discrimination. I would have not wanted to see that cop in my rearview mirror pulling me over for the 8th time. But I did because I'm awake, conscious. Yeah? But of course, we want more. We want more. We want to be there. I want it to be like phenomenal. Like Kundalini, but not stressing out my organs. Just Kundalini, like fireworks in my head all day. And with the great knowledge, no one else is having the fireworks in their head. So fuck them. I'm a special enlightened something. It's just dog shit awareness. We're all awake. Some of us seem to not believe that or seem not to be awake to that. And some of us are awake to that. Yeah? But what we're awake to is awake. It's a fact. It's a fact if it's not being noticed or noticed. It's still a fact. Yeah? I find that very comforting because the mental state isn't factual. It's making shit out of what's not happening all day. It's false evidencing all the time. It's nice to really be rooted in something that's actually real, something that's true, something that's reliable, something that's always available at all times, right where I am, no matter what my seeming condition is or circumstances, it's here. Yeah? All my little mythical theirs, it's here. That's it. Yeah? So... All right, another question.
Thanks, Kaiser. Actually, that Kaiser and I have had some discussions about the descriptive nature of what spirituality originally was coming from somebody describing something, like in their rear view mirror. So but then the like right now, me trying to bring up how describing how what we're not takes that as prescriptive, so that, like, taking the example of the 12 of the big book with the serenity promises, or you take spiritualities that say, oh, you're going to go through a dark night of the soul. And so what we're not, instead of appreciating that it might just be describing more benignly something for us so we can go through it maybe quicker, say, oh, that's just what's happening. We are like, I'm not doing it right. That is, the serenity promises are not happening for me. I'm not even going through a dark night of the soul right. So even the descriptive nature of spirituality now has to be pointed out because of this. And then we were talking to our friend Patrick earlier too about the strange loops that get made because of this. So now it's not enough to just point out the dark nights of the soul or the serenity promises. Now there's a describing of how what we're not actually uses the descriptive nature of spirituality to judge itself about how it should go through the description. Does that make sense?
I'm with you.
So, but anyway, Kaiser and I were trying to talk about this descriptiveness that doesn't end up working. Wait, what?
Can you repeat that?
I don't think so. I think it's on recording. So, but just that how penalized we make ourselves through. So, like what you're saying, or what Buddha was saying, or what Jesus was saying, we're just saying it at a present moment to people that are presently available, and then the misuse of that in time, because now description doesn't really, it gets lost because it was descriptive more locally at that time. Like the serenity promises just fucked me over because, I was just not right for not getting the happy, joyous, and free.
Yeah, but remember, when that thing gets in contact with whatever our life brings about, it's going to take advantage of it, and it's going to put a sort of like when you hear cease fighting of everyone or anything, it sounds like it's an order, like you're meant to do that, when it's actually just an effect of some shift. Yeah, you cease fighting everyone or anything, but when you read it from another point of view, it sounds like an order. Now I've got to fucking cease fighting everyone and everything. Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is just to me, self-knowledge avails us nothing. Knowledge of self is valuable. Yeah? So if you can see the selfing, then you'll realize there is no self. All there is a implying, assuming. It's like the old Zen thing, a finger pointing at the moon, but in this case, there's not even a moon. There's just a finger pointing all day, yeah, that there's a someone, yeah. Because the logic of the mental state is, if there's doing, there must be a doer. If there's seeing, there must be a seer, yeah. So it tries to write the narrative up to take the place of the seeing. Because it doesn't, when it's uncomfortable in seeing, it wants to make a story up out of it, so then it gives it seer seen, and therefore it neuters the seeing, which is the aliveness, which doesn't need a description. Presence doesn't need a description. It's an intimacy. You sense something, yeah? It's an intimacy. And then you realize all the huffing and puffing never made it so, yeah? So you lose interest in it all. If you see it for what it is, not what it implies, but what it is, not what it implies, because it implies a self, but the selfing as what it is, you'll see the redundancy of it, the mechanicalness of it, yeah? It's like one narration fits all life, yeah? It makes everything the same old, same old. Yeah. And that is it's the description is just the beginning. It's a feltness. You know it like in your gut. You know it. You've seen through the activity. Yeah? It's not like you have to be vigilant every time it appears, because every time it appears is mechanical. It doesn't have 8,000 tricks. It has 4 or 5, yeah? And its main disguise is time. The dreaming of time is what's allowing that which comes after to be masquerading as before. That's what it is, seriously. Yeah? We, as action figures, believe generally that there was a past, all predicated on a present. So the present is here, and then past and future as the bookends. What the mental state does, it claims something that happens, makes a product or implies a product from that, and then presupposes the product before all the action, all the verbing. So it's the doing that implies the doer. There's no doer doing. The doing is claimed to imply a doer. At least see it, yeah? Because the language is constantly talking as if it's the doer when it narrates or explains or interprets an action. It's always interpreted with actor action, yeah? Always. If it's not me that was the doer and it wasn't you, it's God or something fucking did it, yeah? It's a failed system and a failed logic. And what Kaiser was sharing about before, yeah, the free sample didn't look like the Rose Parade. Fucking far out. What would happen, really, that as a daily accumulation of the whole day, you would realize over time you've never fucking been gypped. You're here awake, you're here while you're sleeping, you're here completely. All the shenanigans of the mental state, assuming you've been out there, I spaced out, I'm not in the moment, all this is absurd. It has no truth in it whatsoever. You never get gypped. I'm here constantly, all day, all night, all no day or no night. A constant, the light is constantly on. Yeah. You know, a well-lived day is very quickly forgotten, to tell you the truth. It's just completely gone, you know? Because the here is the same. Here was in Bolinas a few hours ago swimming. Here is now here sitting on a couch with a virtual background, sharing with people I'd like to know, and some, you know, I'd love to see you out of a square sooner or later. Yeah? But it's the same, you know? All the like, it's like the table's the same and it's different cutlery and different things put on it day in and day out. But the stability of it all is the table. Yeah, I don't sit to eat the table. Yeah, I eat what's put on the table in a plate or a bowl. Yeah, so I mean, this is just seeing what's happening on the table from the table's point of view instead of from the Frankfurter's point of view or the hamburger's point of view. You know, that's simple, and I don't know. I found great value in it. You know, I mean, it's nice to have a last answer concerning such an important topic of your authentic self or transcendence or the truth. To have a last answer concerning that is a damn good answer because it negates the need for any more answers, yeah? So you lose interest in the realm of answers. Yeah, it's so beautiful, to tell you the truth. And being the solution, you don't need a solution, yeah? It's a very temporary idea that you got a solution. When the solution kicks in, you realize you are the solution. There's no need for a solution. Yeah? Like, what else? Like, what can I tell you? Yeah.
No, thank you for not giving us anything. No, descriptions. No descriptions. Thank you. Patricia has her hand up.
So again, I just want to say, Paul, like, I appreciate the message so much, and it is so worthwhile to me, and I feel like every week.
I just fell down in Zoom. Sorry, I fell down.
Can you hear
All
me?
right, go ahead. Yeah, I'm all right. It was the lap. It was the iPad.
So, like, I feel every week the shoes are getting more comfortable. Like, yeah, they feel pretty good. And, I know I use the word healing, but I still feel like for me, this is like a healing message, because you may not know this because I talk every week, it feels like, but I'm actually a really shy and painfully shy and introverted person. And the first week after I talked on your Zoom program, I was just filled with like humiliation, and I was mortified. I was like, God, I'm so fucking stupid. Why can't I keep my mouth shut? Everybody knows I'm an idiot now. Like, it was just such negative. And then I was like, that's really funny that I'm feeling this way about your message, right? Like, and then I was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm really tired of this. Like, I'm tired of identifying with these negative thoughts for like 68 years. Like, I'm just really, really. And I stood up and I walked away. And, but I'm just going to say that this process of selfing, it gets more and more subtle, because now I'm like, I got it. I don't have to go to a retreat. Got it. I don't have to meditate for hours. Got it. I don't have to read the hundreds of dollars of unread spiritual books I have in my bookcase. Got it. But there is it's moved to a more subtle realm where it's like, now I'm kind of believing I'm not going to be enlightened until I stop being such a fucking bitch. I've just got to be nicer to people. I am so judgmental. Like, why am I such an asshole sometimes, right? I'm never going to get enlightened unless, and then as I hear you, I'm like, okay, so that's just another more subtle level of, unless I'm a good person, unless I become a good person, I'm never going to be enlightened, And I bet you I'm not the only person that feels this way. But anyway, thank you, because when I listen to you, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, yeah. Like,
Yeah, yeah. And you're never going to be enlightened. You're never going to be enlightened. Yeah. You're never going to be enlightened. Thank God. Can you imagine what you would be like if you were enlightened? Fuck. You'd be unbearable. Don't worry. Yeah. Maybe you're hoping for a future state predicated on an assumed past state when the present state is what you're looking for. Yeah? Yeah. Have you met any enlightened people? They're insufferable. Ah, they have no sense of humor.
that was the word that was coming to my mind when you said, what would you be like if you were enlightened? I was like, I'd be absolutely insufferable.
There you go.
No one
So,
would want to be around me. I'd
yeah,
be, I don't know.
just put it off for a few more years. Yeah. You're fine, honey. Yes. And that which says all that stuff in your head isn't you. Yeah. It really isn't. And don't blame the radio for the music that's played through it. Yeah. The radio has nothing to do with it, really. So, and and the channel is changing. You're not changing it, but the channel is changing. Yes? Yeah. You'll find a better groove, a rhythmic groove, and you'll get into it. Yeah. And there will be a loss of interest in all that yapping. Yeah. And you'll gain interest in what you'll find out. Yeah. Yeah. You're in good hands, and I'm very happy that you come and stay with us. Yeah. All right. Anyone else next? Or
Thank you, Patricia. Yes, Carl is up next.
Carl? I got to make sure I'm still in the picture. I just had to go back to the square. All right. I feel like I'm sinking out, so I don't know. All right, Carl.
Hey, Paul.
Carl, how are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good, good.
Uh, sometimes when I listen, I see what you're saying. You mentioned, like the 10-step, one of the 10-step promises. We've ceased fighting anything or anyone. And before I got to that point, I couldn't self-will myself into that position, Like I can't self-will myself into being loving and tolerant. It's kind of like the byproduct of me doing the 4th and 5th steps when I saw how I was driven to do things. And so for me, forgiveness has transformed from being separate from someone, like you did wrong, I forgive you, to being unified with someone, giving forth the understanding that, like me, they're driven to do things, so I don't take things as personally. So my question is awareness of selfing sufficient, because part of me is like just trying to get across this hurdle, which I know is imaginary, but how do I expedite the process? Is it possible, or is just awareness enough? I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but
Well, yeah, see what wants to expedite it is not you, really. Yeah?
yeah.
What wants to expedite, let's get on with it, let's finally fucking arrive, isn't you. Yeah? And then you'll lose interest in the wanting it to be expedited. Because you're not interested in the expeditedness of anything, it's the you, really. It's true, I'm telling you, it's it. Expedite doesn't mean much, but it may mean a lot to a you. Yeah?
Yeah.
So instead of trying to expedite something, lose interest in that which thinks that it has to expedite something. Yeah? I swear. And then the relief will tell you that's what you've been looking for the whole time. The relief itself. You'll get relieved of that activity you just described. That's what you're relieved from. You're relieved from to need to expedite. You're relieved from the need to be liberated. I used to use that term a lot. Yeah, because you're not that which needs to be liberated. Yeah, that's really it. That's the liberation is from the need to be liberated. That's it. It is. That's how that little example just does itself over and over and over again in a lot of different terms and chronologies, but it's the same. It's when, see, that which we're not trying to lose interest in itself is interest in itself. Yes? Most of us have seen that. When that which is playing God hears quit playing God, it can't help but try to quit playing God, which is playing God. Yeah? This is the conundrum. Yeah? So that which we're not wants to expedite its absence, and that's how it implies that it's present. It doesn't have a presence. It just implied one by wanting I want to be expedited out of this as quickly as possible. You lose interest in all that. Seriously. I'm serious. I'm serious when I say the way I used to believe what the term spirituality meant is I have, if you took a spiritual blood sample out of me, I have 0.000% signs of spirituality. There's absolutely none of what I thought spirituality is. There's not one drop of that there. So either it's been an incredible success, what I've entertained, or I'm really blowing it. And you know what? I don't care if I'm really blowing it. I'm sorry, I just don't. So let's hope I've been incredibly successful, because I've lost complete interest in expediting, hurrying up, enlightenment. I just think it's all fool's gold made up by the fool that we're not, really. I do. Yeah? I think we're so obviously awake, it takes so much effort to make it seem like that isn't so. So one of the ways it makes it seem it isn't so is by taking the basic awakeness, gild it with some gold paint, and put it into a future little mantle, and then have you looking at it and trying to arrive there. All the while using the awakeness to arrive at the awakeness. Yeah, this is the fundamental conundrum that non-duality exposes. It does, I feel. It exposes the two-ness trying to objectify what we are, let's call it oneness, so that the two-ness can arrive at the oneness, only to be more two-ness. So I just look at, I'm not the two, therefore there's no fetishing the one. Yeah, I don't have all there is one fetish. I just don't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I think it's more than enough being awake. Yeah, if more shit will be revealed, that's cool. But I'm not standing on the street corner asking it to pull over. I'm just, if it pulls over and I'm at the house and it's delivering to that house, I'll probably accept it. But I'm not paging through Amazon looking for it. I want the shipping of enlightenment expedited quickly. I got to get it here. You ever see Amazon? They have the 3 dots for the shipping. It says 2 days or 1 day. Of course you can hit 1 day. What do I want to wait 2 days for? 1 day. The same disappointment happens if it gets there in 1 day or 2 days. So let's speed up the disappointment. Send it to me immediately. You're the fucking product. Yes. You're what you're looking for. Right now, while it's looking for tons of shit. I don't know. Yeah. Carl, you're in good shape. Probably better than you think, for sure. That's why.
In the way that, like, the problem of alcohol has been removed, my interest in that has been removed. I don't think about that. Is like interest will just wane on its own.
Yeah.
But I just watch for when something crops up.
Yes.
And
you don't watch, there's seeing, so seeing is going to see what crops up. Yeah. Yeah. Let's say you're really on a need-to-know basis as the action figure. So, and obviously you've been in recovery, so recovery has proven the goods, it's delivered the goods. So hopefully there's a trusting the process, actually to a point where you're relaxed while the process is happening. There's not like an urge to expedite it. You're just chilled, yeah, and you know that something has done for you what you can't do for yourself. Why would that stop, really? You know, I don't. I mean, really. So, this most important idea is really addressed better casually. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not a call to arms. This message. It's a disarming. It's a disarming message. Yeah, you are that which you're looking for. I would think that would bring a great relief from all the looking, all the busyness, all the importance, all the expectations, all the self-centeredness that comes from not finding it yet. Relief from all that, yeah? All of those possibilities become possible because of the one possibility of taking ourselves to be something else, really. You want relief from those possibilities, see that you're already relieved of the other possibility that attracts all the other ones. Yes? Yes. And the beautiful this message is, it's a fact. It's not like we're having to get out of something that's real. We're recognizing we were never in something that's unreal. Yeah? That's the difference. And I always used to use the thing, how long does it take to escape from an imaginary place? No time. You already are. Yeah? What tools do I need to do that, facilitate that? None. It's an imaginary place. So I'm already escaped. I'm not aware of it seemingly. It's already done. That which I'm hoping to complete is already done. Yeah? That just provokes rest on that level for me. Maybe I'm not resting while I'm in the ocean or resting to get, the next, ice cream, but on a level of of basic, that's resting. Yeah. That's in a very restful condition. Yeah? Yeah. I've been convinced, bro. I've been convinced of a lot of things. I went no mas. It's over. Yeah. I think it's just gluttony for punishment after a certain point. Yeah. You just, and there's a whole other thing going on there. So you just see, and more, more will be revealed, but it's not necessary. The one point that was really necessary has been revealed. Yeah. Yeah. Good to see you, Carl. Yes.
You, you
Yeah. Yes. Very good to see you. And everyone else.
Thanks, Carl. Howard's up next.
Howard from Oklahoma.
Hey, Paul, and everybody else. I love what you said yesterday about there's this weird allegiance to the problem. So I was on the Book of Face a minute ago. For some reason, I was looking through there, and the old something I recognized a few years ago that I call competitiveness, and it has to do with identity and and the world, and the titles and all that stuff that really doesn't work. But I was drawn into it. I was in a Sunday. They started having face-to-face meetings where I got sober again, and this thought came into my head. I want to go there and find out who they think I am.
Yeah.
Have some kind of fucking identity. Well, I know that's anyway. It's comical. I don't know if that's any kind of question or but I love that weird fascination with the problem, and it's a very popular. Somebody, I poignantly remember several years ago, somebody paid me a compliment, and it lasted about 5 minutes, and I'm going, when are you going to give me another compliment? You know, so I know these titles. I think it's Ramana Maharshi says. I think he was talking about who we are, or he was talking about who God is, and he said we can't say who God is, but we can say who God is. And I can say who I'm not, and I'm not that. I'm not that identity. I'm not my job title. I'm not a dad. I'm not a big shot in AA. I'm not, I don't know what I am, but I'm not all that stuff. So.
But you're in Oklahoma City.
I am with the angry Buddhists.
That would cause me to seek, I think.
But seeking is futile. One of my dear friends, we got together years ago and read Anthony DeMello. Don't know if you've read it. Yeah. And she one of my friends said, we don't need to seek. And at the time, I took offense to that. But anyway, I've been listening to you for 3 or 4 years or so, and I appreciate getting to see you and talk to you like this. So.
Well, good, Howard. I'm happy I could meet you. Yeah, it's my pleasure, really. I liked Anthony DeMello. I was introduced to him the second year of sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
Now everyone's going to look up Anthony DeMello. Yes.
You're alive, and he's not.
Oh, that's why I'm hesitant to share anything. Yeah, Anthony DeMello is pretty cool. Yeah, I thought. Yeah. All right. Anyone else, Mike?
Thank you, Howard. Brahmi is next.
Brahmi. All right, Brahmi.
Hi, Paul.
Besides the River Ganges.
Yeah. So, did you find me yet?
Yes, I have. You're right
Okay.
above one of my old friends, Susanna.
Oh, very good. Hi, Susanna.
Yeah.
So, there's 2 things you said at the beginning of our meeting, and I feel like I've got 2 shoestrings of concepts, and I'd like to see if you can tie them together. One is
The noose, and then you can hang yourself with them.
I love it. The one is the my, and one is time.
Yeah, there you go. Knowing ain't gonna make it better. Mayan time, yes. What's the question around it? Just that?
So the question is, both of them are presenting the unreal in the activity of life. Both are presenting unreality, the imagination, and I can't get out of an unreal place, as you said, but the imagination that my and time, I feel like they're working together to facilitate the illusion.
Well, yeah, if you see it as dreaming, like as an activity, yeah, and as long as we're seemingly alive, it's a never-ending activity for those 80 years or 90 years, yes? The dream, one of the basic formatted explanations was space and time, yeah? So for you to see something, you need time, and you need it to be appearing in something, which is space. Yeah. So time and space are the planks or the basis of dreaming. Yes. So in time, something that is impossible can seem to be possible. Yeah. Like we're separate, long-lasting, independent things. Yes. Only in time could that be possible. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and the my is that movement of identification. Yeah. So the verbing all the verbings that are happening, the mental state is using to identify with. They're using the action to identify with the actor. Yeah? Yeah? So the my is essential also for the, well, to me, the my is the distribution of weight. Yeah? So it's when an action is seen as my action, it's given more weight, yeah, the action. And so that claiming adds more like color to things, yes, puts more oomph into it. So, yeah. And there are activities, we're not doing them. There are activities that are happening. We are really a done by, not a doing to, yeah? This is a done by, this is an expression, and then an observation. That's what it is. It's not a cause of anything. Yeah? And the mental state is arising in time. In time. Consciousness is happening. Yes? The mental state, the idea that it's happening to me is of time. Yeah? And then in that time, then the my and the time are useful to each other. Yes. Time obviously is a construct for sure. Because if you're having a bad day, it seems like it's going on forever. If you're having fun, it goes very quickly, yes? Seemingly. But so obviously, it seems like we're the source of all this activity. Yeah. Time and everything else like that. Yeah. I think time is the most important part of the magic trick of self. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So because selfing is implying something that comes after is before. That's all time. Yeah? That's what it's doing. Selfing is implying something that comes after the idea of self is before. And so when people hear about selfing, they'll call me and say, "Oh, I've been selfing all day." They just demonstrated being the product of the selfing, yeah? So the idea of them came after the selfing, and then it was presupposed to be before, and now it's owning the selfing, saying, I'm the one who's been selfing all day. You see? The feeling of being the one who's been selfing is a product of the selfing. It's not
Yes.
doing the selfing, it's a product of the selfing. Yeah. The feeling of being the one who's doing the selfing is a product of the selfing. Yeah. 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 So, yes, honey. Take a
Thanks,
dip in
Paul.
the kanjis for me.
I sure will. 3 times. I'll get you.
Please, I'd appreciate it. I would love to have been able to go. I would love to be able to say aka Brahmi, dove into the Ganges River. So
You
please,
got it.
thank you.
She's nice and cool this time of year. It's the best for this pre-monsoon.
Cool is relative. I like cool. Thank
Will do, Paul. No problem. My pleasure.
you very much. Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Rob.
maybe we'll set up a retreat there. The people would probably get it in India. They won't get it in Northern California. They would have convinced themselves by paying for the ticket and going somewhere that they got the message. All right. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, Paul.
See you, Brahmi. Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead, Sonny.
Sonny.
Can you see me, Paul?
Yeah, I see you in Duality. There's two of you.
Yeah. Yeah, when I came in, I thought I was
What
non-dual.
is the real one? Neither. Aha.
Yeah, something strange happened, right? When your iPad fell down, I fell into duality, looks like.
Yeah.
So I
I
have a
feel very.
question. I have a question. So, you've
Which
seen
one?
you've heard those old ads maybe 20, 30 years ago. I
Why
don't know
don't
if they
you
run
do
them.
this, Sonny? Look at the other Sonny and ask, who am I?
Who am I? There you go. He's
Yeah,
nodding.
let's do that for a while and then get back to us later.
So have you seen that old ad where the lady falls? It's a life alert ad where the old lady falls down and she says,
Yeah.
"Help! I've fallen! I can't get up." And she
Yeah.
pushes this little
You
thing.
know, my mother was she was the actress of that.
Really?
Yes. And
You're
she
not
was,
kidding, really?
it was so realistic because that used to happen where we used to live and none of us went in to help her.
Yeah. So when she presses that, right? When the lady falls down, she presses that. The life alert is a pendant, right? And
Yes.
it's on her arm or something. And whenever she falls down, she presses it, and
Yeah.
the life alert people come in and they rescue her. So I was thinking maybe on your website you have like a non-dual Zen bitch slap pendant that I can carry around. That if I fall into duality, I can press that and I can get some sort of a virtual slap.
Well, then you never need to press it because you never fell into duality.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Literally.
Yep.
See, if you think you can fall into duality, you will feel like you fell into duality. If you think you can't fall into duality, you'll still fall into duality. But there's a point where you'll see you were never in duality. Yeah?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. You're not of that. That's not your nature. Yeah. It's your appearance and it's the appearance, but it's not your nature. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's why we can see it. We're not of it. Yeah.
And it's as easy as this, right?
I hope so. Yeah. Why not? Everything else you make really hard.
Right.
I
Yep. Thank you.
can't even cancel subscriptions on Amazon. It's fucking impossible. This is easy. Yeah. All right. Next person, I hope.
He's still peeking. That was the best, Sonny.
That's
my
the hardest
God.
I've laughed in any of these Zoom meetings. Thank you, Sonny.
Never seen anything like that.
My son taught me that. He's 11 years old. He had to sit in front of his school classes 2 months ago, and he got tired of that. So because they can see, right, if he's paying attention.
Oh, he's
So he
genius.
made this thing, and then he can walk away for half an hour, and the teacher still thinks
Oh.
that he's there. Yeah, because
Hey, Sonny.
I can get up and go away, right? Yeah, there you go.
Sonny, you got to copyright that app fit quickly.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's my
You make
11-year-old
a lot
son taught me.
Money right now. Yeah.
Thank him
Yeah.
for us, man.
I'll use it here.
Yeah, there we go. You can start. You can record a talk, right? And everybody thinks Paul is live.
All right, Mike, anyone else?
Anybody else want to raise their hand?
Yeah, this is Imad. Can I ask a question? I know it's not working here. Do you hear me, Mike? Paul?
I can hear you.
So Paul, so there is verbing. So there's seeing, and through the senses, there's seeing, there's touching, there's hearing, right?
Yes.
Would it be a fair statement, like this understanding is occurring that these are not what I am not, right?
The seeing, that which is seeing is not what you're not, no.
But there's okay, so the way you're saying it as if there are two things, the seeing and that's what I am. But there's only seeing and...
Yeah, don't go there, bro. Remember, just stick with the forest. Don't worry about the trees.
So the other question is the mental state. Isn't that's also arising too, right? Mental state?
In time.
Yeah. So what's the difference between mental state, seeing, hearing, sensing? Is there a difference?
Yes.
What's the difference?
You need to find that out.
But they're all arising in from the same, how should I say it? From the space or whatever you want to call it, awareness, right?
But that doesn't matter. That's just something we say. How is it? How are you sensing today? Is there something before you? Is there anything that's seeing that which is seeing? Are you
Well,
are you where the buck stops? You know, like we have a statement in America, the buck stops here. Are you?
well, there is hearing, there is seeing, but
And
as you say, it's being claimed all the
what
time.
is aware of the seeing and the hearing and the feeling and the tasting and the touching? What's aware of that? So
It's
there's
only after the fact.
conscious contact and there's awareness of the conscious
Right.
contact. Yeah?
Yes, there is.
So you're the awareness of the conscious contact.
Correct.
There you go. That won't help you any if you're trying to understand that from what you're not. It's much more valuable to understand what you're not, and you'll find out, you'll have a feeling of what we just said. And the feeling is worth 1,000 fucking words. Yeah. You'll have a sense. You'll have a sense of that which is seeing everything else. Yeah. What we call seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, there's seeing of that. Yeah. Yet you can't turn the seeing, the hearing, the feeling, and tasting and touching to touch, feel, taste, or see that. Yeah?
Right.
That which is seeing, which is aware, cannot be aware of. Nothing else can be aware of that which
Right.
is awareness. Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Awareness is. That's it. Yeah?
But at the same time, the thinking also arises in that too, right?
And it comes in time. Thinking is of time. Thinking is of time. Yeah?
Sure. Yes. Yes. Definitely.
Are thoughts aware of themselves? No.
No.
There's awareness of what we call thoughts. Yeah? But
Yes.
in a way, a thought is like a rabbit being pulled out of the hat by the magician. Yeah? Was there a rabbit? It's only a rabbit when it appears to be a rabbit. Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
So something out of nothing arises, and we call it a thought. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. But there's an awareness of that. So awareness is not of thought. Awareness is not of time. Awareness is not of anything. Yeah?
Yes.
And you and I can't know that because we're being it. It's that freaking simple.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, Sonny, did you have your doppelganger there responding to a Paul talk?
I'm expecting to get 2 donations from Sonny now. Now suddenly the one disappears.
Yeah, I'm gonna disappear entirely.
I see 4 of you. Then
Well, there is.
Man, isn't it fun tonight, eh?
No.
Don't you feel, I don't know, this is the kind of communication or contact you can have when we're all resting assured of basic facts, yeah? Then you can ease
No, you're
up and
sitting-
not so seriously.
Paul, you gotta stop saying these things. Now there's 3 of me.
There's
Whatever
3
you
of
say
them now.
comes true.
Fucking, the spiritual sperm went
Oh, he just left.
too many of the spiritual sperm went to the same place.
Yeah, he just left. Something you may have said. Let's see if he comes back.
It must have been me, yes.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, oh no, there's another one, and he has a different shirt. Oh, you know what? Hey, Sonny, I'm gonna have you be the virtual model for all the Zen Dish Slap shirts.
Okay.
Different Zen Dish Slap shirts on. We'll have it'll be the quickest runway for our whole line. We'll just have Sunny, Sunny.
Scary. Scary.
Good. Yeah, and when I do a live meeting, I'll have you make about 80 of you, so it looks like people showed up. We'll have a virtual crowd.
Yeah. Indra's net.
Paul's actually successful now. He's popular. They all look the same. All right, well, I think we'll end, eh? Yes? It's 8:30, I think. Yeah, no other questions? Let's just say goodbye to everyone.
Bye, Sonny,
All
Sonny,
right.
Sonny.
Nice to see you. Mike and Nick. If you need to call me, Zoe, nice to see you there. Linda, Clay, I hope you come back. Yeah. I won't. I'll understand if you don't. It's fine. Hold on. Wait a minute. Mary, nice to see you. Patricia, great. Marianne, nice to see you there. Let me see. We got Deepak, always a pleasure. Clifford in Thailand. I can see the teak background. Very nice. Maggie from the Desert Oasis. Wow. That's a nice. Is that a town or is that your condition? That's good. Alicia, I think. Is that right? Yeah, I said it right somewhat. Fritz, my main man, Fritz. We got Zlatko. Zlatko, you got a crotch shot now. Lift up the picture. You should lift up the camera. Let's move on from Zlatko. Carl. Nice to see you, Carl. That's the meeting. I don't know. Jim and Trish, nice to see you. Yariv, you can't believe what's above you, Yariv. Don't look up. Look up. Oh, there he is. There's Slutko. Thank God, Slutko. Thank you. I don't want to get an X rating on Zoom. No. We got George. Nice to see you, George. The void seems to be getting brighter. That's good. And there's the 3 Sunnies. The 3 Stooges. Yeah, Sunny, and Sunny. I'd love to have that weather forecast for the next 2 days. Sunny. Dennis, nice to see you, Dennis. We got is this Rush? I can't see it. Oh, Roth. Robert Roth. Nice to see you, Rob. Kaiser, you're in great hands. The AA program is very sound. Yeah, rest assured. We got Chris there. Michael's on the move. Michael Stacy. Yep. Susanna, looking. You're growing, Susanna. You're growing your hair. You must be so proud of it. Howard from Oklahoma City. Oh, it's so incredible. And there's Brahmi from somewhere in India. I don't know where. Near the Ganges. Oh, there's Stacy. Very nice to see you, Stacy. Dimitri, fantastic. I just lost Sherlyn. He went somewhere. Amelia, the love of my life. Dennis from California. Sue Kempton. Nancy, a lot of oh, there she is. Sherlyn, you went to a whole other group of squares.
Oh.
Yeah, you just migrated. Yeah. I caught you though. I'm like the ice of Zoom. I caught you.
I see Dorado.
All right, Dorado's there. Keith. Oh, there's Dorado. Yeah, fantastic. Nice to see you, Keith. Remember, don't be hanging around the dog park at 12 o'clock at night. Yeah, you're going to look suspicious, especially if you don't own a dog.
Yeah, especially if I don't come with the dog. You're right.
All right, so hey, everyone, thanks so much, Mike and everybody, Linda, and other ones that are anonymous. It's such a pleasure. We have new T-shirts. Check them out on the website. We'll be here Saturday at 1:30 Pacific time. Don't hesitate to donate. My lavish lifestyle can always use a little polishing. Yeah. And yes, it's very nice to see everybody. Shelyn, take it easy. I'll see you guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Paul. You were
Thank you, Paul.
fantastic.
Pleasure.
Fantastic.
My
Thank you,
pleasure.
Holly.
See ya. See ya.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
Sharon dropped off. So is that hard to do, Sonny?
No,
Huh.
you just launch a Zoom session and then record yourself. Basically, you're the only one in there, and then you record it. You can record like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and loop it up. And then I did this other one the other day where I had me in the background, and then I recorded that as well, right? So